Hello guys, and welcome to this Game of Thrones facts video. All the facts that are mentioned in this video, by the way, will be linked in the description below, as there are many more. So for all you super fans like myself, then you can go and check out those links. Okay, so by the time this video gets released, the new series is just about to start. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So I thought it would be really fun to do a kind of themed video. I have already done a Daenerys roleplay, hence why I am wearing this necklace. Now, at some point during this video, I may be removing this because it kind of flaps like a dragon and I can't get it to stick to me, so it may be coming off. But anyway, if you'd like to see that video, I will also link that in the description below. Okay, so I really hope that you enjoy this. I have 50 facts for you. I have them all printed out old school style here. So I'm going to be reading all of these. As I have just said that, my necklace has just fallen off, so we're going to pop that to one side. And also, if you are liking this lighting, I got some new kind of lights. So on this side, in honour of Game of Thrones, we have the red side representing the fire and the blue side representing the ice. So I just thought that would be fun for this video. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling and we're going to get on with some facts. So I really hope you enjoy this. If you do, then please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. And if you want to see more of little old me, then please subscribe. Okay, let's do this. Fact number 1. Ramsay Bolton almost played Jon Snow. Now, I don't know about you, but I cannot imagine anyone other than Kit Harington to play Jon Snow. I just think he is perfect in the role, and I think that Ramsay would have looked too maybe like mean. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so Game of Thrones could have looked quite different. Fact number 2. The TV series will end differently than the books. Now, I think this is quite clever, and I imagine this was done to stop spoilers. So that's quite clever, and also I think it's quite good because you get 2 different kind of styles of endings. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're really enjoying reading the books, you get one type of ending, and then if you really like the TV show as well, you get another type of ending. So it's quite clever. But I imagine it's fairly similar. I imagine it's just like fractions of like changes. But anyway, fact number 3. Sansa Stark's Direwolf. No, I think that died, didn't it? I think it did die. Yeah, it got killed. She actually ended up adopting it in real life, which I think is so cute. I read that the actress actually really wanted a dog growing up, and her parents never wanted one. And then apparently when, you know, she was with the dog on set, you know, she just loved it so much, and her parents agreed to adopt it. So it's really cute, and it is called Zuni, and it lives with Sophie Turner's family in England. Okay, fact number 4. Apparently, the episodes in season 6 cost more than $10 million per episode. And it's not really surprising when you consider that every episode is basically like a little mini film. But I imagine all the CGI and all that stuff is pretty crazy. So yeah, $10 million per episode for season 6. I don't know what it started out at. I think I read that it was maybe around, no, what was it? It was 60 million for the first season. So can you imagine? It's like 10 million per episode for season 6. It went up quite a bit. Okay. Peter Dinklage, who plays Tyrion Lannister, has appeared most out of every other character. So he's appeared in 61 out of 67 of the episodes. So that is pretty amazing. He's also probably my favourite character. I think he's just so cool. And if you actually think about his character, he's got really good morals. I think he's almost the most sane, like on a level. And I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen, but if I could see anyone on the throne, I would really like to see him. But anyway, maybe he can maybe he could like kill Cersei, something like that. Anyway, okay, fact number 6. The series has been filmed in several countries, including Ireland, Iceland, Croatia, Malta, and Canada. So that's pretty cool. I've heard a lot of it, like the majority of it, was filmed in Ireland, which is pretty cool. It's only a little flight across the pond for me, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and they say that because Game of Thrones was filmed in these particular areas, that it's really boosted tourism to these particular places. So that is the effect that a show like this can have, without much surprise, to be honest with you. I guess it's a bit like, what's it called? Hobbiton in New Zealand for, yeah, Lord of the Rings. So I really want to go there, but anyway. Okay, fact number 7. At the end of season 5, Cersei Lannister had to do a nude penance walk, and for that she actually used a body double. Now, apparently the actress doesn't have a problem with doing nude scenes at all, but she felt that, I think that she said that she was going to have to be nude for 3 days during filming, and she obviously needed to look quite emotional when she was doing that, you know, long walk. And she said it kind of would have made her personally feel quite angry, and that wasn't what they wanted from the character, so they got a body double in for that. And I read, apparently, where did I read that? I read that the body double was at least half her age, but I mean, not that matters, but another bonus fact. Okay, fact number 8. When filming season 7 in Iceland, temperatures dropped to -20 Fahrenheit. Oh my god. So that's -28 degrees C. That is crazy. Much of the cast had inadequate thermal underwear. Not good. and Norwegian actor Christoph Hiju, who plays Tormund, made sure that all of the cast members got merino wool underwear from the Norwegian clothing company Devold. Oh, that was nice of him. Oh god, I can't even go outside when it's like -1, so -28. That is insane. And having to kind of make your mind focus on like remembering your lines and stuff like that, and being that cold. That is dedication. Mind you, if I was getting paid millions, I'd probably put up with it. Fact number 9. Now, in the show, obviously, Cersei and Tyrion don't really get on, but apparently couldn't be anything further from the truth in real life. Apparently when they're filming, they actually share an apartment and drive to set together and things like that and hang out. And apparently Tyrion, or not Tyrion, I should say Peter Dinklage, I always forget his name, actually got Lena the role of Cersei, so apparently he recommended her. So that's quite cool when they were working on another project together. Fact number 10. George R.R. Martin got the dragon eggs as a wedding gift, and I thought this was so cool. So you know when Daenerys gets the dragon eggs, 3 eggs as a wedding gift, apparently the author actually got given, I don't know if he got given all of those, but apparently he got given one of those as a wedding gift to himself. And yeah, it actually featured in the thing, which I thought was really cool. Okay, fact number 11. Okay, Catelyn Stark and Daenerys were both originally played by different actors. So in the original plot, Catelyn was played by Jennifer L, and Daenerys was played by Tamsin Merchant. And then obviously they were replaced, I think obviously maybe after the pilot episode, replaced by Michelle Farley and Emilia Clarke, who is a total woman crush. I mean, hello. And also from like watching Game of Thrones, you would never ever think that Emilia Clarke was like naturally a really dark brunette. She just suits the blonde so well. Okay. Speaking of the pilot, George R.R. Martin, the author, actually had a cameo in that episode, which I think is pretty cool. Now, I personally never saw the pilot, and I think I read somewhere as well that I don't know if it actually aired on mainstream TV. I don't know why, I'm sure you can find it online, but yeah, apparently he did actually feature, had a little cameo. Okay, fact number 13. Peter Dinklage almost turned down the role of Tyrion, and this was because he was a little bit concerned of doing the kind of fantasy thing. Apparently he was quite worried that he'd be put in, you know, little pointy shoes. Maybe I guess he was thinking more of like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and stuff like that. So he was a little bit concerned about that, but in the end obviously decided to take the role. And I can't imagine anyone else in that role. I think he plays it so well, so I'm glad he decided to take it. Okay, fact number 14, and to be honest with you, this was I kind of just spoiled fact number 14. But basically, when Peter was thinking about not taking the role, he actually revealed this in a Reddit AMA. So yeah, that is when he actually came out and said, yeah, I didn't take it because actually I was worried that it was going to be too much like a kind of an elf thing, like a fantasy thing. So yeah. Fact number 15. There's more than one Monty Python and the Holy Grail connection. Part of Game of Thrones pilot was shot in one of the castles used for Monty Python and the Holy Grail. 3 seasons later, in Breaker of Chains, an unnamed Mirinesi warrior, I know I can't pronounce things, shouts a series of taunts at Daenerys that include, "Your mother was a hamster," "Go and boil your bottoms, sons of a silly person," and "I blow my nose at you," in low Valerian, of course. That's quite cool. Fact number 16. Kit Harington actually showed up to his Game of Thrones audition with a black eye. This is because apparently him and his date went to McDonald's late at night and they sat down in a restaurant, and apparently some guy on the next table was making really rude comments to Kit's date, and Kit sort of tried to confront him and, in his own words, ended up battered. So yeah, he actually turned up with a black eye, but in a way I kind of think that's quite good because it shows that he was a bit like tough, so maybe it was a good thing for the role. Fact number 17. Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Brienne of Tarth, said that the most gruelling scene she ever filmed was the fight between her and the Hound. She spent 2 months training 3 to 4 days a week with Swordmaster C.C. Smith, just to build up the required stamina for her fight scene. Now that is dedication. Fact number 18. Dothraki is a real language. So in 2014, Living Language released a controversial language course that will have you speaking like Khal Drogo in no time. The course was crafted by linguist David J. Peterson, who worked with HBO to create the Dothraki herd on the show. So if you want to impress some people with some Dothraki, then you can actually learn it online. Now, I actually did the same with this next one. So fact number 19, you can actually learn High Valerian online. So they say that you can do it via an app, but I definitely did it online. So in addition to the real languages that this app teaches, Duolingo offers a class in High Valerian to enhance your Game of Thrones watching experience. Now, I am a bit of a geek with this stuff, and don't ask me to quote something because I'm useless, but I do actually remember going online and trying to learn the language. I actually did learn a little bit for my Daenerys roleplay as well, so again I'll leave the link in the description so you can go and check that out. But I also did the same for Elvish in The Lord of the Rings, so there we go. Fact number 20. After the pilot was picked up, David Benioff pranked Peter Dinklage by calling him and telling him that the show had been cancelled. It was 6 hours before Dinklage learned the truth. Oh my god, can you imagine that? Thinking it had been cancelled. What if he'd believed him and taken another job or something? There we go. Okay. Fact 21. A lot of characters that are dead in the TV show are still alive in the books. So, more than a handful of characters are alive in Martin's books but dead on the show. These include Shireen and Stannis Baratheon, Night's Watchman Pip and Gren, Barristan Selmy, Myrcella. I'm so bad at pronunciations, it's ridiculous. Myrcella Baratheon and Mance Rayder. Okay. I know it's going to be like you guys commenting below like, oh, you need to say it this way, but there's no point, guys. I've shot the video. I'm just a bit useless. Okay. Fact 22. Daenerys originally had violet eyes. So apparently in the book, it was written that she had violet eyes, and then when in the show, it must have been in the pilot. No, it couldn't have been in the pilot because she wasn't in that. It must have been like very early on when they were trying to film. She was given violet contacts to wear, but then basically the directors thought that she couldn't really convey enough emotion when wearing them, so they decided to just leave it out. Okay. Fact 23, also relating to Daenerys. So, you know the scene where she has to eat the stallion's heart? That was made out of a gummy bear type substance, apparently. A bit like anyone who's a fan of Santa Clarita's Diet. Apparently it's made from the same kind of gummy mould stuff. So apparently Clark said that it tasted a little bit like bleach, which is most unpleasant, and the fake blood was so sticky that apparently she got stuck to a toilet. Now, I don't know how the blood kind of ran so much down her that it would stick her to a toilet, but quite unpleasant nonetheless. Okay, fact 24. The Stark kids are all different ages in the show compared to the book. Okay, so let's scan through this. So, Bran was supposed to be 7, and while the actor who played him, Isaac Hempstead Wright, was 12. Ira, who was played by Maisie Williams, went from 9 to 13, while Sansa, Sophie Turner, went from 11 to 15, and Rickon went from 3 to 6. In perhaps the most stark difference, if Game of Thrones had stayed completely true to its source material, Robb Stark and Jon Snow would only have been 15 and 14. Oh my god, that's crazy. I can't imagine that. I'm glad they changed it. Okay, fact 25. One actor has played 4 characters. Welsh actor and stunt performer Ian White has played a grand total of 4 roles. In seasons 1 and 2 he was a White Walker. Also in season 2 he played Gregor, one of the 3 actors to play the role, and season 3 saw him as an unnamed giant. In the season 5 he played the wildling giant 1-1. That is crazy, but quite fun to have the opportunity to play like all those different roles. That must have been fun. Fact 26. It was the most pirated TV show for 6 consecutive years, according to Torrent Freak. So this was from 2012 to 2017. In 2015, it had more than twice the illegal downloads of the second most pirated show, The Walking Dead. In 2018, The Walking Dead finally took over the top spot, but only because Game of Thrones hasn't released a new episode since 2017. Okay. I mean, I'm not surprised. I watch it on Sky, but I know lots of people who haven't got Sky, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to wait. So I can imagine people being a bit sneaky, and you can't blame them really. Fact 27. Sean Bean, who played Ned Stark, apparently revealed in a Reddit AMA, I don't know why I could never say that, AMA, that apparently he had some fun with his decapitated head. Apparently he kicked it about like a football whilst on set. So, I mean, when you've got a version of your own head to kick about, I suppose, why not? Fact 28. Injuries, specifically an open neck wound, we're assuming this would include having one's head chopped off, or injury to an unspecified part of the body. What happens in battle stays in battle. are the most likely cause of death on the series, while burning, aka the only way to kill a White Walker, and a punishment Daenerys dragons are very skilled at inflicting, is the second most common way to be knocked off. So I guess you just have to avoid having your head chopped off, avoid injury to basically any part of your body during battle, and avoid being, you know, involved in some kind of fire accident or having, you know, Daenerys' dragons breathe fire on you, and you'll stay alive. Seems simple enough, right? Okay. Fact 29. Kit Harington and Rose Leslie, cast members who plays Jon Snow and Ygritte, were wed to each other on June 23rd, 2018, my birthday. And they obviously fell in love on set, which I think is really cute. And he popped the question in September 2017. And I think that was part of the reason, actually, that Game of Thrones was like delayed more, because it was meant to be shown, wasn't it? Like at the end of kind of last year. But apparently it was delayed because like they were getting married and there were a few other cast members who were off doing things, so that was like one of the reasons why it was kind of delayed. But anyway, fact number 30. Prior to being cast, Lena, who plays Queen Cersei, and Jerome Flynn, who plays Bronn, were in a relationship that ended so badly. It was actually put in a clause in their contract that they would never have to share scenes and must remain apart on set. Now that is definitely a bad breakup. But then again, I can imagine that you wouldn't really want to kind of see your ex while you're trying to be on set and work and stuff, so especially if it ended badly, so very sensible of them. Fact number 31. Queen Cersei was voted by fans the least favourite character. Now I read somewhere that apparently the character of Cersei is so hated that when Lena is actually out and about, she can actually have abuse shouted at her, which is actually pretty harsh considering it is just a character. I don't know why I did this. But obviously people get so connected to the characters and to the show that, yeah, she has actually received some genuine abuse in real life. And apparently when, like, some of the cast members have been at signings and things like that, signing autographs, apparently she has had people snatch their autograph books away because they don't want her to sign it because they hate the character so much. So actually pretty harsh. I do feel sorry for her, but shouldn't be such a meanie in the series, really, should she? So, you know. So, Maisie Williams, fact of 32. Maisie, who plays Arya Stark, says that when fans meet her, they often ask her to recite the names that she says before she goes to sleep. So, and that's all the names, by the way, if you're not familiar, of the ones that have harmed her loved ones. So they ask her to recite this list and then to also insert their name into the list. So to be fair, if I saw her, that's probably one of the things I would definitely like her to do in quite a weird way. But fact 33. The actor, I love this fact by the way, I love this fact. The actor who plays Hot Pie, Ben Hawkey, teamed up with the UK food delivery service Deliveroo to launch his Game of Thrones inspired bakery. And I actually remember this when it actually came out. You know nothing, John Doe. They served a Direwolf loaf for £1.30. It's about $3. Inspired by the one hot pie baked Ira in the show. I mean, genius. genius marketing. I've always thought actually that that more like food places like could definitely do Game of Thrones like theme things. Oh my god, I do actually quite fancy some John Doe. Anyway, fact 34. While there are some characters played by multiple actors in the series, there is also an actor who played multiple characters. Now, we mentioned, didn't we, that there was someone on my other fact that had played 4 characters, but this is somebody else. So, Dean Charles Chapman played a minor role of Martin Lannister in season 3, but was later cast as Tommen Baratheon for the later series. And I think that must be quite, it would be fun, but also it must be quite odd, not just for the actor, but for like everyone on set kind of thing, because if you have played this character and then you are all of a sudden playing a different character, it's quite odd for people to get used to. But then again, I guess if you're in different like costume and stuff, like I imagine you'd settle in pretty quickly. But anyway, fact 35. Executive producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss said that the production of the show is a massive undertaking. Not really surprising, but it lasts the entire year and they shoot the show like a 10-hour movie. Season 5 alone, this is amazing, so season 5 alone was shot in 5 countries on 151 sets for 240 days, having 166 cast members, over 1,000 crew members, and get this, over 5,000 extras. Like, I can't even, how do you direct that? How do you manage that? Can you imagine if you're filming something and just like one person is out of place or just slightly says like the wrong line? Like, hats off to them. That is insane. But we're very grateful. Fact 36, and this is just a little fun fact, but Theon in the show is actually singer Lily Allen's sister. And I never knew this, but I always quite like knowing little kind of facts like that. And yeah, I just thought it was quite cool. And apparently she actually tried to get a role in the show as his sister. So there we go. What's he called in real life? He's Alfie, isn't he? Must be, yeah, Alfie Allen. Yeah. Fact 37. Fans of the series have spotted this hidden gem while looking for Easter eggs. A replica of Gandalf's sword Glamdring from the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies is forged inside the Iron Throne. And I love this. When I found this out, I was like, that is genius. And I actually had to like put on an episode and just like look really closely. I was like, oh my god, there it is. Like, what? Like, I love that. And George was apparently like really heavily influenced by like the Lord of the Rings, so it kind of makes sense. But anyway, apparently though, it was only a matter of practicality. So the people who created the throne used whatever moulds were already available to them, and Glamdring happened to be one of them. So there we go. But I still like to think that he just wanted to put like a little bit of his kind of inspiration into the throne, so I like that. Fact 38. Okay, in the series, Charles Dance's character Tyrion Lannister was previously married to a woman named Joanna, who died birthing Tyrion, and with whom he had 3 children. In real life, Dance was previously married to a woman who was also named Joanna and has 3 children. That is pretty spooky. I was going to say, I wonder if that kind of inspired the writing, but then that wouldn't have worked. So ignore that, but that is pretty freaky. I wonder if that was weird for him, the play, especially if it was, it says, previously married. Yeah, especially having, to have that kind of name in your mind of someone you'd divorced. But anyway, fact 39. In the year 2012, around 160 baby girls in the US were legally named Khaleesi, after the character in the show. Although it is not the character's name, Daenerys, but a title that is an equivalent of queen in the Dothraki language. So I actually think it's quite a pretty name, like Khaleesi. It was quite like a strong name, but I do think that's quite, it's quite a good like title, isn't it? Khaleesi. Fact number 40. I hope you are still with me. The super fans will be. You'll be here, and thank you. So fact number 40. Kit Harington broke his ankle in 2012 when he was locked out of his apartment building in London and fell while trying to climb into his flat. During season 3, the film crew had to try to figure out how to shoot around the injury, including the use of stand-ins in Jon Snow wigs. Harington felt so guilty that he brought the production manager a bottle of whiskey. I mean, dearie me. Fact number 41. During the series, you can see the characters wearing belts in a particular knotted fashion. Apparently, this is clearly visible in most of the knights, but the knot is actually correct and was used in medieval times and is often referred to as a garter and used to fix leg armour pieces to the knight's legs below the knees. It is one of the symbols of the English Order of the Garter, the highest chivalric order. Chivalric? I said that right, didn't I? Chivalric, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Because I did always notice that and I thought, oh, is that just kind of, like a style choice? But actually to know that it has kind of some historic meaning is pretty cool. Fact 42. Women in Westeros typically take their husband's surname upon marriage, with the exception of the house holding the Iron Throne, where the surname is only inherited by birth and not marriage. This is why consorts to kings and heirs of the Iron Throne retain their own name. So Cersei Lannister instead of Cersei Baratheon, and Marjorie Tyrell instead of Marjorie Baratheon. And that kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah, because if they're the more powerful family name, or they're the ones in line to it. Yeah, that makes sense. Fact 43. So 4 locations are always shown in the main title sequence, regardless of if the episode has scenes set there. So King's Landing, Winterfell, the Wall, and wherever Daenerys is. So King's Landing is always shown first with the crowned stag of House Baratheon. Winterfell is shown first in the hands of House Stark, then sacked and torched, and later with the House Bolton sigil or sickle. The Wall is the last main shot before the camera pans to Essos. The sequence shows up to 6 locations, and I really like the way the titles are done. I think it's really nice. I just read the next one. Sorry. Fact 44. The look of Daenerys' dragons on the show were inspired by geese and cat behaviour. So apparently you had like this kind of the morph of like the creatures together, like a geese crossed with like a cat. Why would you have a cat behaviour? Or I suppose actually when they're like on the ground, like the way they kind of can nuzzle sometimes, I guess is a bit cat-like. I think it's more dog-like in a way. A cat. Anyway, and apparently a bat as well. I guess yeah, for the wings or whatever. But anyway, there you go. So the next time you see a dragon and it's all scary and all of that, you can just picture, you know, some geese and a cat. Fact 45. Jack Gleeson, who played Joffrey Baratheon, retired from acting after his character's death at the start of season 4. Spoiler. Gleeson had been acting since he was 8 and decided that instead he wanted to go into academia. So, yeah. I guess in a way, if you've played one of the most hated characters, and to be honest with you, like, I know a lot of people don't like Cersei. I actually really like her as a character. Like, yeah, she's evil, but like, she's watchable. And whenever I like watch Joffrey, I was like, oh my god, I just hate you just so much. You're just so evil. Like, I really don't like you. So yeah, I guess if you've played someone who is like so vile in a way, although I mean Ramsay was pretty vile, wasn't he, as well? But I've seen him as the actor in a comedy series, and there's part of me that couldn't quite take him seriously anyway. But yeah, I guess if you have played someone who's really hated and you've been acting for so long, maybe your like heart isn't like truly in it anymore. And it just shows that, you know, you can always change career paths and you should always do what you want to do. Fact 46. So according to a YouTube video, the death count for Games of Thrones stands at 150,966. This figure includes all the estimated deaths in the battles, along with major and minor characters actually killed off in the normal running of the show. The biggest death scenes are the Battle of Blackwater Bay, the Battle of the Wall, and Hardhome, which swell the numbers significantly. Yeah, I love the battle scenes though. So good. There's a battle scene in now. Is it The Hobbit? Or is it The Lord of the Rings? I always get them mixed up. And people will hate me for that. But there's a particular battle scene that is really good in that. But obviously, like, it's a different thing. But yeah, it kind of like reminds me of that, like all the battles. But I just love that in like a program or a movie. I just love that kind of scene. I just think it's so well done. Fact 47. The Winds of Winter, the final episode of season 6, is the most popular ever episode, with over 8.9 million viewers in the US first watching. It's also the longest too, clocking in with a runtime of 69 minutes. The second most popular episode is Mother's Mercy, the finale of season 5, which got around 8.1 million viewers. The least popular is The King's Road, which was season 1 episode 2 with 2.2 million viewers, slightly less than the first ever episode. Fact 48. The most expensive death in Game of Thrones was the demise of Meryn Trant at the hands of Arya. It happens in the final episodes of season 5, Mother's Mercy, and sees the Stark girl stabbing out Trant's eyes. I remember this. So some expensive CGI and makeup work went into that one, because obviously she couldn't poke out her eyes. So yeah. Fact 49, we're almost there. One of the show's most important and impressive structures is the Wall. It defends the people of Westeros from the magical dangers of the north. In the show, it's said to be around 700 feet tall, but in reality, the wall is mostly CGI. I know. There is a real wall, however, but the height is only 17 feet, which is slightly sad. And lastly, if you made it here, thank you so much. Fact number 50. During the first 6 seasons, 45 main characters have died. There have only been 2 episodes of the series that don't have a death in them. Lord Snow in 2011 and The Bear and the Maiden Fair in 2013. Guess it's true what they say. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. So there we have your 50 Game of Thrones facts ahead of the final ever season. I'm so sad. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I apologise if there are quite a few cuts in this. It's purely because there are motorbikes and all sorts like out and about today, and I mean, annoying. But anyway, thank you so much for watching or listening, and I really hope you enjoyed this. Also, please let me know what you thought of the lighting. As I mentioned on social media, unfortunately this camera that I'm using apparently has a hardware fault, so I am going to have to be purchasing a new camera. I am going to get this fixed anyway, but I don't want to be without one for filming, so I am going to be investing in a new camera. So if you have any particular suggestions, I'm thinking of looking at a 4K one, so if you have any suggestions then I would be very appreciative. Anyway, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Obviously not if you're sleeping, remain asleep. And please leave a comment if you are awake. And if you're not already subscribed, please click the subscribe button. Thank you for listening, and I will see you very soon.